In a world that is too often marred by bigotry and hatred, and at a time when even some world leaders promote racial, ethnic, and religious intolerance, I can't think of anyone more deserving of a Spirit Award than John M. Everly. Certainly, John is a very successful entrepreneur. He launched Everly Associates, a manufacturer's representative firm that sells powertrain components to the automotive industry more than 45 years ago, and it's still thriving. Along the way, he acquired and revitalized other firms as well, including Jernberg Forge, where he increased sales by 400%. But even more importantly, John has spent his entire life promoting Jesuit and mercy values. In particular, he has courageously fought time and again for tolerance, diversity, and inclusiveness. John first witnessed racism up close as a student athlete playing football for the university in the early 1960s, prior to the Civil Rights Act. The Southeastern Conference and many non-conference teams in the South refused to play against teams like ours, which had African American players, and other teams only did so grudgingly. During a game in 1962, Everly and his teammates stood up to the verbal and physical assaults of Memphis State players and fans in defense of a black teammate. 50 years later, the Varsity News quoted John as saying, "I don't remember much of that season, but I do know that that game impacted me." Fast forward to December of 2015, and we find John Everly still advocating inclusiveness. When a local Catholic high school allowed Muslim students to have access to a prayer room, some parents protested. One mother told a television news reporter that the move was unconscionable and that her son's Catholic education would be undermined. In contrast, John Everly told the TV station, quote, "The people that are going to school here, they're already accepting the fact that we have to live in this world together as Christians, Muslims, whatever. And if they're around and see people that will walk the talk and are good people, it helps everyone. The worst thing is to separate and assume the worst about everyone." End quote. Now, John is also exceptionally humble, and he keeps a low profile. You won't find much about him on the internet. But those who know him appreciate his talent and his principles. He's been inducted into the Athletic Hall of Fame at the National Shrine of the Little Flower Basilica and has received a leadership award from Marion High School. He supports the Sacred Heart Major Seminary and even helped establish and fund the Focus Hope Children's Center. And John, who earned his bachelor's degree here in 1965 and his MBA in 67, has been a loyal alumnus of ours for more than 50 years. He's been a longtime member of the Ignatian Circle and the Cal Club. He was recognized in 2008 as the university's John Conti Letterman of Distinction. And in 2010, I had the privilege of inducting him into the College of Business Administration's Hall of Honor. He's given guest lectures during Alumni Week and served on the college's Alumni Board and Board of Advisors. Indeed, as the college approached its 100th anniversary in 2016, John and his wife Mary Sue graciously provided a centennial sponsorship. Yet even as they prepared to do so, John had to briefly postpone our meeting to do a favor for an archbishop. What better reason is there? As the president said, the awards being bestowed this evening are called the Spirit Awards for good reason. We select recipients who not only demonstrate success, but who embody the very spirit of our institution and our sponsoring orders, the Jesuits and Sisters of Mercy. John Everly is such a person, and I'm proud to know him. And I hope that we continue to inculcate such values so deeply in our current students that 50 years from now, they too will still have the courage to address intolerance like John Everly does. Thank you, John, for setting a great example for all of us.
Well, I didn't know Joe knew all that, was going to say all that, so I had some simple notes here. When Peggy told me keep it to 2 to 4 minutes, word went out in the family and they had a celebration. Because usually I'm preaching to them at lengthy sermons. So I wrote down a few comments to keep it simple. Again, Dean Eisenhower, Joe, brought back so many memories that I could talk forever. So here's what I've got. It says, when I think of my experience at UD, I am first of all very thankful to God for all the people who made my path to UD possible. Religious sisters and good priests who were my moral compass set the stage for my decision to attend the University of Detroit on a football scholarship in 1961. And in the process also meet the love of my life, my wife of 52 years, Mary Sue. When viewed from my eyes today, the university continues to be the beacon of light it was in 1961, exemplified in its continued commitment to our city, not to abandon it when the easier road would have been to move to Clarkston or some other location. As a result, it has struggled financially more than its share and learned to do a lot with minimal resources. It parallels somewhat what we deal with in our own personal lives in that we do our best work when we are challenged and need to draw on God's goodness and grace to get through a difficult situation. I especially thank God for the Jesuit influence in the role models like Father Larch and Father Heder. These were caring mentors who always put the kids first. As a result of these experiences, I have a love and respect for the university that I will take with me to my last years on this earth. They taught me to give and not to expect or seek reward. Then one day you wake up and realize that you are the one who has given the gifts, and you thank God again. In closing, I would like to thank both Dr. Garibaldi and Dean Joe Eisenhower for my nomination and selection for this award. I feel very honored and undeserving of this recognition. As I mentioned to Dr. Garibaldi when he called me to notify me of the selection, I thank you and hope to show my appreciation by continuing to reach out to my friends and circle of influence to promote and enhance the university's image and goals. So it is with heartfelt thanks and from the bottom of my heart that I say thank you.